Hi guys, my name's David, and I haven't done a live, I haven't done a sharing here for like ages, so I thought I'd come on because it's nearly been a year since I had my diagnosis. I'm 31 now and I was 30, so it was just last year that I went as a result of, sorry guys, as a result of having some addiction issues. I went through a recovery program and through working with a person that's called a sponsor, who I didn't know at the time was also on the spectrum. She very lovingly said to me through that work that there was sort of like more going on here, and she helped me to get to a point to accept that I could be on the autism spectrum, and one of those ways of that acceptance was meeting the founder, Agni, and watching her YouTube videos, and then coming and joining this space and being a part of this community, of which I haven't actually for quite a long time. And I just want to say thank you to this community, and also to the admins that I know that work really hard to keep this space running, and for all those people that work in the background supporting and assisting us Aspis, especially mums and dads and healthcare professionals and stuff like that I can find quite challenging. And I'm just and what I suppose what I've found actually with in that year or near a year is probably that I've become more Aspi. I don't think that's probably possible. Maybe it is. I don't know, but I've probably become more aware of my more aware of my behaviours, more aware of my emotional responses, more aware of my physical responses as a result of being in the community, reading your posts, and watching videos, and getting that process of identifying and being able to compare, is that similar to me, and things. And I found that I do struggle more as I've become more attuned to my own emotional and physical and spiritual challenges, and mental challenges, because that chronic negative mind, that berating, it's my default setting to be really self-derogatory, self-condemnation, to be quite bitter, quite twisted at times, and most of the time I'm glad to say that it's directed at myself, which isn't good. But I phoned a friend today who helped me get my assessment, and as a way of a coping strategy, to help me manage, because I was going into overwhelm, because I've just got back from travelling and I found it quite full on. The train was very busy, a lot of smells. I find that I'm very aware of smell these days, and those sort of things, when travelling and being I'm also disabled and have chronic illness or fatigue quite quickly, and I find that the balance of being on the spectrum and being highly, I'm good, Helen. It's good to see you. How are you, love? And being highly attuned to being analytical, not just of my own physical functions, smell, sight and sound, but also that of everything that is around me. And so my Asperger's I see has flourished, which is actually quite an amazing thing, because as it's flourished, I've become more authentically, more spiritually, more driving my wavelength, and that's apparent when to manage getting through London. I get the right tune on, I get my wheelchair up to speed, and I'm no longer busting into other people's energy or other people's body language or other people's conversations. It could be like tidal waves. But actually, when I'm in my own jive, when I've got the music on and I'm focused on where I'm going, I slide. I cut through those environments with a more clean edge. And I find I don't have to do as much meditation and wind down after travelling. But what it doesn't stop, though, using these techniques, is that fundamentally what I suffer with, what my condition is neurological. It's hardwired. It's not just a soft wiring programming. It's that daily functions, I'm powerless over the blow capacity of getting into that. There's too much stimulus, and though I can manage it now, from accepting that I was quite unmanageable and not able to do it, I'm now finding these techniques through the help of you guys that I can manage it. But it's like coming back today, and I've used that beautiful skill of being analytical to put in layers of buffers to give me bandwidth to be able to manage things, and that's by putting care in at home and seeking the right funding to have that care put in place at home so I can transition more smoothly from my different activities. But what I find is that then my expectations are quite high. And, though I'm neurologically fine-tuned and fine tempo to what can throw me off basically, and get me into that really darker place of my my mind, which can be quite deep and quite low. Having that care and stuff in does help, but it brings its own wear and tear on it. And it was a classic one this morning with those expectations being quite high. I'd hoped by listing it out and being well prepared when I went away and for care coming back in, that I'd be able to smoothly glide in, sort of like come down from that travelling vibe and land in my flat, in my oasis of calm, and that hasn't been the case. So what I've found is that I am now cresting more waves that we're unprepared for, and this is what I find challenging in a daily life of being on the spectrum, because I've got the care in it's different set of care, so we're working through the things. But what I have found is I can get really stuck in the problem. Like, I'm overwhelmed, there's mess everywhere, I haven't eaten, I haven't done any primary care needs, I haven't done any self-care. I'm firing. Literally my brain's going here. And that's even without a cup of coffee or any sugar. And I've alerted these things now. I've been sort of on the spectrum, or aware of being on the spectrum for over a year, because I started beforehand, and I know that they do have effect on me. Even though I've noticed that it doesn't matter whether I'm sometimes whether drinking them or not, caffeine or eating sugar. Ultimately, it doesn't matter so much. When it's too much, it's too much. It was one of those moments this morning where I've got people coming later today. I've got a dog coming for a business that I've set up, and I've got things in the diary planned out using that great skill of organisation and planning that I've learned through those abilities of being on the spectrum. And I just get to the point where it's just too much. There's too much of it. What I have to do is I then have to go phone somebody to help me stop being so rigid. Because what I do is I go, I can't cope. And then the walls come up and the head closes down and the space gets tight. I get tight. I get moody and snappy. And the thing is, it's not that I want to be. It's because I'm in hide mode. I'm in bunker mode, and I don't see that when I'm on my own, because I'm so used to doing it by myself. To go, nobody see me. You can't see me, and it was chatting to my friend, and I can feel myself literally holding on to the bars of the prison, going, I don't want to get out of this this emotion crying spot, and I have to be very aware that that darker aspect of my mind that my Asperger's is in likes to really get hold of me in those spots, and keep me from taking those healthier actions to pull me out of it. And it often stops me from seeing that I'm actually in the process of doing it. And that's what's really frustrating, I find, is that even when I'm like on the phone, I'm not acknowledging, my wiring doesn't allow me to acknowledge that I'm actually in the process of solving the problem. And that can be because sometimes I'm not grounded within my body enough, maybe, or I'm not even talking from my diaphragm, but I'm talking from my throat, from my my pitch of my voice, because I'm still going, the other part of the my analytical mind, the negative part of the Asperger's, is going, will I be judged for this, what I'm saying? Will there be a backlash? Will there be a mental backlash? Will there be emotional backlash? What am I using here in order to try and share this with you? What's your opinion? And the thing is though I have no way of controlling that. What I can do is control my response to it, or I'm learning to control my response to it. So that's like starting to try and move the communication into my heart, into my chest, and actually become empowered by the physical part of my body, not just the mental process of my mind, and to take my power and control my physical response to what my brain is internally trying to produce a physical response. And it's really important that we are allowed that space to be able to do that healing work. That's sort of my personal belief, because I really wholeheartedly don't want to always be swinging so badly from great highs to great lows, because I find even when I'm having great times away, or even last night, being quite positive, being really glad to be home, I'm in that adrenaline bubble of travelling still, and I know I've got to come down because neurologically my brain can't function with my body. Two separate parts. My brain can't function in that space anymore. It's it just fries. It goes crispy brain, and I can feel that as I'm energetically trying to keep myself down into my body, and I can feel that it's being slow to come down. And we'd call that being grounded, maybe in meditation and stuff, or if you do yoga and stuff. And I'm just looking at my notes because I asked myself a question last night. Why do I do? Why do I do this? Why am I coming on here? Why am I sharing this? I wonder why people think that I do this. And I have to be careful, because that can be the obsession bit of my Asperger's. Though it can be some of the powerful analytical parts of who I am. It can be very, very effective, very loving and very effective. And I suppose there's multiple reasons. I hope that you don't feel alone when you're having these times. So by me sharing, you'll be able to have the similar opportunities to identify, and to maybe hear the journey from somebody else's point of view, to then see where yours is similar and different, and maybe hear what doesn't work for you and what might work for you, and have the strength and confidence to trust your own inner guidance system, because I think that's what I've found more as I'm letting go of what I've learned as I've grown up, or evaluating it and going, actually, is that right for me now? Is that right for me now as a 31-year-old living independently Aspergic male who's disabled plus other things? Is this hospital, is this funding, is this community the right and appropriate place for me to be in where I am today? And not where I was yesterday or a year ago, but where am I today, and maybe where I'm hoping to go tomorrow. But letting go of some of that fear of tomorrow, because I really accept when I'm not using some of the basic skills that my neurological mindset, not who I am soul-wise, not who I am emotionally, David, like the loving, caring, positive, kind, compassionate, sweet, caring, will give that time to another person, be vulnerable and able to help another person. Not that one. That's the one I work to be and work to maintain. That's who I am. That's my soul. That's the essence of who I am. But what my neurological default is, what I'm unlearning, clearing up and cleaning, there's a lot of learnt stuff, neurotypical maybe, or just life stuff. And what that life stuff's learnt me to do is to self-deprecate, is to compare you to me and then put myself down, or to compare me to you and put myself above someone. So I can be quite selfish, I can be quite self-seeking, because I'm always feeling frightened, and I'm always feeling vulnerable. I'm always feeling less empowered. I think that's the way of putting it, because energetically I don't feel self-sufficient. And through other practices and in other parts of my life, I am working to heal through Reiki, through spiritual practice and talking to people, and meditation and art therapy and physical therapy and dialoguing and exploration. I'm working to unlearn that, because what I find, and I'm sure many other of us do find, is that when we are surrounded in a world that is so outwardly different to the experience that I'm feeling, I continually, from my type of Asperger's, I continually assess myself to the outside view rather than what my loving internal view is. And because I've always done that, same, Helen. And do you know what? The only way that's changed for me is from the pain, is from being in a lot of pain, from being so stubborn. And it's only because nearly that pain's broken me in areas of my life. Actually, to be honest, it did break me. And I did get to the point where I no longer wanted to live, but I wanted to die. And I don't say that wholeheartedly or off the cusp, but I got to that point where it had literally broken me in half. And don't get me wrong, I'm still really stubborn now, over lots of small things, because I feel always in a defensive parameter. What do I mean by that? I feel like somebody's always drawing on me, and I'm always drawing from somebody. So I don't feel independent. I feel like I often need people more than I would like. And I live in an environment of my own creation of my head that tells me this, and that's outside of me is that I need others in order to be independent. Now there are layers to that for everyone, and there are layers that for me. But what I was talking about unlearning some of that is as I unlearn the things that I believe I need, like a perfect house or a perfect wife or the dog or whatever, I'm finding that there is a more natural me, a calmer me, one that's more emotional, one that's more loving, one that's more honouring of my inner self. And do you know what? I know that I honour my inner self because I am so willing to honour your inner self. Because I can see in other people, I can see their love and light that shines from them, and I'd love to help nourish and nurture them. What I'm doing is so I know I have it, and so what I'm trying to do is learn to do that within me, through the skills of what my Asperger's bring, through the skills of what my disability bring, because they've uniquely gifted me to see other people's suffering and other people's challenges. And boy, gee whizzy heck, isn't it overwhelming a lot of the time? And it's change, and it's care, and it's illness, and it's positive, and that pain and that stubbornness has been softened. I say that softened, like softened, to more of a working acceptance. Not always full acceptance, because a day changes a morning. My Asperger's within a day changes so from minute to minute, to hour sometimes. But it's like, you know, my emotions, which are generated by the hardwiring, aren't real. The emotions can then cause a physiological response, and then it becomes real, and that's horrible because we are powerless over the first bit, the wiring. I can't control that, but what I am learning to do is to manage the emotion, hopefully, and manage the physical consequences or impacts. And the thing is, we do this together, and I don't do this alone, and we have opportunities to come in here and share. Apologies for that. And I think what can be really, really, really horrible, actually, of my mental illness, is that I fail to see it. I fail to see the improvements, and often fail to see them when I most need to be able to have that awareness, because I'm just very fundamentally human on that stuff. But it is when we're, there's more than one of us that I see in others, which reminds me that I do have it in myself. So really annoying. Why can't I just be on my own? It'd be sometimes a lot easier. So it was a really tricky morning this morning, wanting to throw people out and have a cry meltdown and stuff, and it's because I've learnt that coming away from people and feeling those emotions means that it's loss, and that loss is bad. And I've got grief muddled up in that, and what that emotion is, and all it is that I'm experiencing love, and that I'm experiencing more love when I'm not with them, because I've been reminded of the love that I have experienced while being with them. So as I leave them, I'm valuing it even more. and that it's my attachment to what that love gives me that causes the pain of that I won't have it again, like a learned response or some description. And that's not true, is it? Because, I got on my bed last night and I did lots of self-care, had a good meal, and I felt that love for myself. And I have a cat, and he sat with me and he gave me that same love in a very different sensual way, which was what I was craving. And this morning, even though I was fumbling, not wanting to stop and wanting to bluster through, he got on my lap and kept getting on my lap to slow me down and gave me that loving reassurance of which that I feel a loss of an attachment to, of a loss of something. I'm trying to link in the Buddhist connection here a bit of that, of other areas that I'm feeling wobbly in with my family, and I hear of like a codependency and stuff, and I've started to read a bit of a book on it, and it's very similar to what Asperger's is, and I don't read it to diagnose myself into it. I read it to learn the strategy of getting myself out of it. Because what I've learned is a set of pain responses. And ultimately, I don't want to be in that kind of pain anymore. I don't want you guys to be in that pain anymore. I don't want you guys to be suffering at work or with the family, with the kids, in the park, in the travelling. Because it's horrible. I know it. I feel my own. So intensely that I would hope to be able to help alleviate yours in some way, and we all find our own ways of doing this, I suppose, and we'll have been doing it for years, but some of mine's through a 12-step program, mine's through Buddhism, mine's through working spiritually with spirit guides, card readings, Reiki, and healing with spirit, and other things like that, because that's the way that I've found, and talking with people. People use counselling and all sorts of other ways, which is bloody damn cool, because it's, whatever helps, mate. You know what I mean? Whatever gives you that opportunity to glide through your day more smoothly than the bumpy, lumpy ones. So, way to go, guys. I went off on a tangent there. I was trying to be creative and get in the flow of my energy then. Okay, here I was. So yeah, it's I suppose what it is, this is it, what my head's telling me, is that I want you to feel alone, but I want to do is encourage you. Not encourage you because I know what I'm doing it right, but encourage you because, hey Tete, encourage you because we all need encouragement. And because we all need encouragement, we all need love. We all need encouragement, we all need a friend sometimes. And that's really important. And sometimes we just don't feel that from in the environment that we live in, either one made by our mind or by what we live around. And you're all really special. You are an amazing soul that has got abilities that far outweigh the normal scope, and you are managing in an environment that isn't set out for us, and that is really amazing. And you guys will all be having your own difficulties and challenges, and what we do every day is that we breathe and there is hope, and we get on with it and we do it. Sometimes they're rough and sometimes they're great, but it's the fact that we do it each day, that we don't check out, even when we feel like doing it, and that's pretty damn cool. So hang in there, keep rocking it, however you're rocking it, and we've got such a beautiful opportunity to learn and balance. And you know what? I'll just leave on this. This is something I'm working on. When I stopped believing that perfection was doing it perfectly, like always being in a good place, but learning that perfection was the balance point between the two extremes. Now there are ladies and friends of mine, parents throughout the 31 years. I can't balance that on my finger. Yeah, I can't do that. Who have been telling me that for years. So I suppose seek your harmony, seek your balance, and we'll do it. So yeah, keep going, guys. Keep rocking it. And thanks if you've listened or popped in on this share. And it's been ages since I've shared in here, because I've been working on a business and managing things and not really getting into the overwhelm blow up button. But I just thought while it was a bit raw and a bit fresh, I'd come and share, and I hope it might help somebody else. So take care. God bless. Safe 24. Good evening, good night, good afternoon. Take care, and hopefully see you around. Bye.